I really set up the premise in Little Big Boy of being a late bloomer, which is really also very much the theme of so much of what's going on in Big Mouth. It's true in that, like, I was late to get pubes. I was late to lose my virginity. And then I was pretty late to get into serious relationships. Like I didn't have a serious girlfriend until I at least turned 30. I mean, I had like dated women, but I hadn't had like a very serious committed relationship. And then really I didn't live with a woman till the woman Lily, who now is my wife. I had not.
You still call her the woman Lily.
The woman Lily, yes. Yeah, doesn't everyone call their significant other that?
Yes, I think they should.
And so so it felt on time for me, but I feel like in general, it's a little bit behind the ball for your average person.
Okay. So, but you were never insecure about it.
No, when I turned 40, I was like, I remember being like, I was depressed. One, because I had a couple of my dear friends from high school had just died of overdoses and suicide. And so I was kind of rocked by that of like, wow, I'm 40 and my friends are dying. And then on top of that, I was dating someone and dating in general, but I was like, all of a sudden was like, man, I'm 40 and I have not figured out this massive part of life, which is like, who is my partner? And then like, who is my partner who I'm going to have a family with,
Did you feel like you were supposed to?
Yeah, I mean,
because I'm right now, I'm of the mind of like, I don't know, if I don't have a partner, I don't have a partner.
Right. I think I go back and I had gone back and forth on that. Like I have
still go back and forth?
No, I'm good. But I think like, I have 3 siblings, all of them are married. My parents are still married. All 3 of my siblings have 4 kids. So I have 12 nieces and nephews and 4 marriages around me. So the model is get married and procreate. Like that. Yeah. It's very, very much there. Now you come from a ton of kids, but
and a lot of
broken marriages.
People,
I'm imagining.
I'd almost exclusively.
Your family has the most divorces per capita
that we could possibly have per person. I believe. I mean, most people are divorced.
Yeah, good. You guys can field both sides of a football team at this point.
Yeah. And it will be a violent game.
Yeah.
Believe that.
So I think the modeling was, I never felt, I'm the youngest. So, and you're the youngest too, right? So like, it's very different, I think 12 and 4, but like the youngest, you feel this like freedom, I think more so than others to be like, fuck it. I'm not going to do what everyone else did. Like I'm not falling into like the pattern of whatever pattern my family has established. So I felt very much like that. But then I came to a point where I was like, oh no, I think I would like to have a partner and have a family. I wasn't like, I haven't, since I was 12, I was like, oh boy, one day I'm going to have my own family. I was like, I assume if I find the right partner that I will have a family. But it wasn't like I was like every day counting down the days until I became a father.
Right.
But I kind of in the back of my head was like, this will happen at some point.
You did. You believe that?
I kind of just assumed it would.
Were you like a active uncle?
Full disclosure, Neal read my pilot, Active Uncle, where I am an active shooter who is an uncle who's going into.
It's a horrible title.
It was a bad.
That was my first note.
Don't even get me started.
What does this mean, active uncle? You just say I'm an uncle.
But I'm an active uncle.
At one point, he looks at the camera and says, "By the way, I'm an uncle.
I'm an uncle, and I'm active, and I'm an active shooter." So I'm going to your school. I'm doubling down on the active shooter. You tried to push through it.
Yeah.
But I came back around.
Part. It's kind of a tender time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So anyway, I was an active uncle, but I lived across the country. My whole family lives in New York. So it was like I'm engaged, but also, you're in for a couple hours and then you're out. I don't know if that's how it's like, so I
might not, I didn't even last an hour a lot of time. Go ahead.
Right. So I eventually like found the right person and went for it.
Your wife seems excellent and is a beautiful looking woman. Like just like, oh, you're beautiful. Like you're beautiful.
She's beautiful and she makes beautiful art and she's a beautiful person. She's a good person.
And I called that it was your backdrop on your special was her idea.
Yes.
And it was at one point matches your lips perfectly.
Really?
I don't know if I sent it to you. Your lips are purple. It's the perfect lip. It was so goddamn funny.
We didn't tone the color specific to my lips. I was running out of oxygen on stage.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into some blocks. You told me you're not married.
That's not married.
And you've never have
It's a tough job being married in show business in general, I find.
Tell me why.
Well, I guess as a comic, more than anything else. I think actors, they go on location and their wife can come to the location, which is already horrible. I don't want my wife or girlfriend at my job. My whole career, we had a rule, especially maybe because I didn't have a wife or girlfriend, but I'd say no wives and no girlfriends, like ever at the road. Like, no, seriously, at any road show, on the bus, no following the bus. And they were like, "Oh, wow, really?" I'm like, "Yeah, because we're in a working environment. So there's no girls, there's no wives, there's no one. No, you're."
It's like the army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Carrot Top Army. I mean, honestly though, when we're at work though, it's a work environment. We're all focused. We're traveling. There's no time for.
Could they be
you
at a
can
hotel?
Fight with your wife on the phone after the show, like they do. But
you'd give them an hour to fight with their wives. Go 10 to 11.
Maybe
Go ahead and
their
fight with
time.
your wife.
Their time.
Yeah, no, but not on Carrot's time.
Not on my time.
Would you? That's a funny policy.
Yeah. Now it's a great policy
and a great one.
Yeah, because there's no distractions.
I know people that when they're hiring a staff will look for people that are not new parents or newly married or new. Like, you want them to be committed to your thing. I get that.
And we didn't want girlfriends following the bus, or wives following the bus. So there's any kind of issue with something happening horribly that they're, so just.
What's your relationship history, Scott?
0. Here I am.
No,
I mean, I have dated.
And how did it go?
It didn't go so well. I mean, it's, but then again, like I would say, as a comic, I think comics are an interesting breed of people. Not only not only because of the traveling aspect of it too, but just it's just
I've started telling
a different
people
thing.
It's like, how you feel when you have to give a toast at a wedding. That Saturday you have a toast and you start, if the toast is at 6, you start worrying about it at like the day before, and then at 11 you start doing this and trying to find. We're like that
every day,
all the time,
and
it's preoccupying.
Yes,
and if you are involved, you gotta understand. I've been doing a joke about it where I'm like, I'm just preoccupied, so they'll be telling me relationship stuff, and I'll just be thinking of jokes. Keith Richards said it in his autobiography where he's like, I was just thinking of riffs. There were girls and coke, and I was just trying to
think of a riff. Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's exactly my. Couldn't have said it better. And it's nothing personal. It's just that's how our brains think. We're never listening or focusing ever. We're just thinking about the gig.
I want to give myself some.
Well, not ever, but I mean, pretty much ever. Like the whole day and whatever. And the only time maybe after the show, after the show, like right after you're still thinking about what went right and what went wrong. Or ideas they can add.
2.5 hours after the show, you'll start to be a human.
Maybe be a human and say, no, what were you saying earlier?
You're exaggerating, and I agree with you.
Yeah, but I'm being serious. But I just saying and I don't know any comics that have ever been. I mean, a few that have been happily married forever, but they're usually they have sitcoms now and they don't travel and they have families and they still fight.
We kind of have to hunt what we
Everybody does. I know comics that are even very, very successful comics that their whole act is about what they do. They're fighting with their wives. I mean, that's that's so in a sense they can help. They can help you write jokes.
Look, if you're coming, you got to pitch in.
Bill Maher and I we had a nice one because he and I are very, very similar in that regard. It's just about the single aspect of things, and I think we just were like, he's 60 something,
yeah,
and he says people to this day find it odd that I am not married, and I said I get the same shit. And it's not odd. It's odd to me that you think it's odd. Like to me, it's like. Everyone doesn't do the same normal thing.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 30, eventually you do realize you're going to have to get married, get the kid and get the house and the wife and what do you mean eventually I have to do that? Well, that's what you do. What do you mean that's what you do? Who does? So I know
Well,
a lot
that's
of people
what I
that
was
never
wondering.
did that. I know a lot of people that never did that. But if you are, they're like, oh,
Well, you wouldn't
there's something wrong.
You
with
wouldn't let
Well, there's a
them.
lot wrong with it.
You wouldn't. They couldn't work for you if they did that.
This is true.
You were discriminating against them.
Yes.
No,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I am with you that you're trying. That it's like
That's
look
why I
at.
say it's really my pain that I was making them suffer because
Yeah.
I didn't have a girlfriend, so you can't have one on the bus.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry
that's what I
that it
did.
took you this long
That's
to
why.
realize it.
Yes.
And many of them
I knew it.
are speaking to lawyers as we record this.
I love lawyers.
Oh God, you don't love? I love them. No, the idea that someone looks at you and goes, "Well, I'm sure he's normal about relationships." What gave you that idea?
Right.
That this person would be normal about?
Right.
It's like just not the thing.
Right.
But the expectation, people just want you to do the thing. They want you to affirm their choices.
Right. Exactly.
Like if they got married and had kids.
Well, absolutely. All my friends did that to me. I'm like,
And then what's great is when you wait for the
my
divorce.
brother went to the Air Force Academy. I didn't go to the Air Force Academy, but it was odd. But like, when are you going to go to the Air Force Academy?
Yeah.
I'm dumb as fuck. I'm not going to go to the Air Force Academy.
Did you feel insecure about that at any point?
No.
So you seem like
My dad worked at NASA and trained astronauts, and my brother was a F-16 fighter jet pilot, and I was happy with that. I just said, I'm gonna
be Carrot Top.
and I'm gonna go. This is in a sense.
I'm literally
in a
gonna
sense,
go
I'm
be
going
Carrot
to do.
Top.
Yes, and I do it in the show.
All right. So have you been in any real relationships with women?
Yeah.
And how'd it go?
Like it's bad. It goes good for a while.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, it goes good for like the first few months.
And you can't keep it up.
I can't keep it up. And you know that.
See, that's what none of us can. Here's how relationships work. Women pretend to be sexual and men pretend to be thoughtful. And we can both do it for like 3 or 4 months. And then it goes to what we're really like. And then we start getting mad at each other.
Yeah. Why? Is that just human nature?
Yeah, because we both want a thing. I believe men just want like sex and a connection, and women want a connection and they'll take sex. Like, whereas we have to, like, it's a problem for us. We don't get it. So we both present in a certain way, and then we come to them with like, I'll give you a connection. And then they go like, I'll give you sex. And then and that's kind of what happens. And it's also like new structures.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, after a few months, I guess I don't long for a connection much anymore. After a few months, I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes you just want to go back to being alone.
That's that's maybe the issue with people like us is it's pretty good, pretty fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. We got a full cable package up here. We can entertain ourselves.
Yeah. Like, I was an only child for a long time. I've never lived with any of my siblings up until now. So I'm like pretty good at just me and my TV. If I didn't have a TV, I'd lose it.
That's the connection that's a great connection.
I've lived with a girl, my son's mom. And I remember like sharing the bed was the first, like, whoa, like this is end game, was you got to find somebody to share a bed with. I had my own bed my whole life. Now I have to share one. That feels like a demotion.
Yeah, it sure does.
Now I also have to share control of the remote.
Yep. And you got to wait for the bathroom. It's like prison.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing?
Also, she doesn't wait until I'm done using the bathroom. Like, you get less privacy, you get less TV time. And I know to a lot of women this just sounds like immature. They're like, that's your big problem with TV. They're like, yeah, that was my best friend growing up. TV.
Yeah. Yes.
I also like hate most of their TV shows.
Yeah, that's a problem. Men and women don't have a ton of shared interests.
We don't.
It's like we pretend, but
I can do like a few date nights, and maybe that's just me not being ready for marriage or whatever. But I don't know if I will be ready for marriage, just because like I'm not going to be able to share a TV every night for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And then it's also, would you be in a relationship would you be one of those dudes who like has his own wing of the house? You know what I mean?
You need that.
Yeah.
You need that. I
Yeah.
feel like, and it's only fair if a woman gets that too.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of women now are saying like, I don't even want to live with a guy.
That'd be fine.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a smart way to approach it because it's not.
Doesn't mean I love you less, you know?
It's like, this isn't going to help. Just constant other person in your face. It's not going to make you like, oh, I fucking adore it.
And maybe that comes from like my own issues too. Like just like things never being stable at home.
Yeah.
Like things were always changing. People were in and out the house. But one like unit, you know, being like a perfect couple and living together from like this point until forever just seems like a crazy goal to me.
Look, if it weren't for children, there'd be no I don't even think women would want to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's just about safety. It's about creating a stable environment for a kid. Now, on the other hand, unstable environment, exhibit A, unstable environment, only child, hot chips, fucking reheating at 7-Eleven, nothing but his TV's his best friend. Pretty good.
Cowabunga on Netflix.
Okay. What do you, well, you're still young enough that I wouldn't worry about it.
Or worry about what?
The other thing that I've had to learn is is getting satisfaction from being with Emily, from being a good husband, from being, you know, taking care of the house and all this stuff, having like a good life. Have worked on that, reprioritized it.
How did you reprioritize it? Because I say on here, I say in life all the time, it's like, it's very hard to change. Very hard to change your priorities.
Yes.
Without almost dying.
Yeah.
Honestly. How do you reprioritize your life in a way that it is real? Because everyone can fake like, no, I'm going to be...
Well, that's the thing. You know, I don't know exactly the mechanisms for it. I know if I think of the changes between our relationship over the last, say, 5 years or so, it would be that from my side, I really have decided that I want to show all of myself to Emily. So I would be afraid of telling her thoughts that were embarrassing to admit. Like,
did you tell her about the Emmy meaning more than the Oscar?
I have not yet. I don't. Can you take that out?
Yeah,
I'll tell her that. But like thoughts about like self-doubt thoughts or scary thoughts or whatever it is, I would just keep it all inside and really have made an effort to like tell her, because, you know, I'll be in a bad mood and and in the past I would just take it out on her or something. And
you have to.
Yeah. But now really, really being like, hey, just so you know, I'm worried about this or I'm scared of this. It makes me feel better because I used to think, I think this is on the list too. I used to think saying all this stuff out loud made it real. It's the opposite. It takes it takes their power away. So doing that and genuinely wanting to know Emily more, you know, I'm very lucky in that I'm with someone who is a wonderful and very fascinating, complicated, super funny person. I want to know more about her.
I don't know Emily very well at all, but I get the sense that she knows her way around humanity.
She was a therapist. She
there
does.
You go.
She says hi, by the way.
Yes,
she really likes you.
The knows her way around like feelings, thoughts, emotions, grossness, embarrassment.
One of the most emotionally intelligent people I've ever met in my life, and that's why great producer, because she can. Really good at manipulating people. You know,
Wonderful.
She understands this stuff, but she's very good at like making someone think they won, and also getting what the larger goal is. And so I think that's been one of the biggest things, is really showing all my sides of myself that I may not necessarily be proud of, stuff I'm ashamed of. Sharing.
Did she know that you weren't sharing them? Could she sense that you weren't sharing them?
For years, dude.
Would she say something?
Yeah, she would ask, but really it was really working through it and deciding like, okay, I'm going to share. I mean, it was 3 vulnerable things about myself with you every day. And you have to make it like, and it has to be like stuff that's uncomfortable to share. It can't be like fake vulnerable, you know. Sometimes you do, you know. Sometimes you dredge up some old
bottom of the
fucking
barrel.
thing. Yeah. But really making an effort every day to do that. 3 vulnerable things every day, and then just being stuck.
What time do you do that?
Whenever you can bring yourself to do it, you know.
Meaning, is it ever like you wake up in the morning, you're like, all right, look, I spit on a squirrel one time. Like what?
When do I do it? A
Yeah.
lot of times you're cramming towards the end of the day.
No, I bet.
You know? Yeah, a lot
Does
of
she have to
times.
do it?
She has to do it too. We were
Right.
both doing it.
Are you guys thinking about downgrading to 2?
Oh, we're not doing that anymore.
you're not? Okay.
That
Thank
was
God.
we did it for a few months, I would say. We did it for a few months, but I feel like now, and it was always I would say I was the one who was deficient. I feel like we're just a lot more connected and we really see each other and know each other a lot better. And
You were
just
deficient in what way?
in not sharing myself completely, in like giving her a curated version of myself because,
Yeah.
you know, having shame, too much shame. I think a lot of it comes from religion too, you know.
Mhm.
So much
What
of
was the religion?
Islam.
Do we talk about what you're doing in relationships right now?
So my first like real boyfriend that was when I was sober and he wasn't long distance. He didn't have another girlfriend. Like my first available guy that was my boyfriend I was 20, I guess 9. We got together, and it's the guy that I'm with now, and we've been off and on for 9 years, going on 10, and we probably spent 5 of those together, but it's been off and on. And even when we weren't officially together, we were kind of just like sleeping together, and even that's completely changed. Like he used to be completely unavailable emotionally. I thought I was like, finally, I'm going after a guy who's available, but he was emotionally unavailable. But now it's gotten to the point where I guess what I've changed is like, I realize that I'm the problem. It's me. Like I am not easy to be with. I'm not like a catch, and that I am grateful that this person puts up with me. And like,
What's the hardship of dating you?
I change my mind a lot. And so I think
About
that
what?
I
Everything,
can't
or
speak.
just-
Yeah, everything. And I'm people pleasy. I think that can be worrisome, that I'm not consistent, but I am consistent in that I get excited about things that I'm excited about. You know, like I don't lie to people about like, yeah, I'd love to go to dinner.
Yeah.
Like in that moment, I
Yeah.
really do. And then 2 days later, I'm like, no, I don't fuck. But I wanted to go then. It wasn't like I was just
Yeah.
saying that, knowing I'm going to cancel. So I'm always authentic in the moment, but it can switch. I can be very, inconsistent in that way. And so
are
I
you
think
inconsistent with him?
not anymore. Like I really
Do you
have.
make a concerted effort? Like, no, I can't say I'm going to do that if I'm not going to do it. Or like, what was the switch?
That's a good question. I think that I now say I just give a lot more maybes. Like I need to think that over instead of immediate answers. And I think a big thing that happened for me with him was that when we started hooking up again, inevitably, like we'd always do, we'd break up and then we would kind of date other people, and then we'd be in the same kind of vicinity and start hanging out again. And I just refused to sleep with him again. Like, no, we can do everything, but no, like your penis can't go in my vagina. Like because I would just always fall in love with him again from that. It was just too intimate.
And you'd fall in love with him, and would he fall in love with you sometimes?
No, because he would kind of be in the thing that we agreed to, which is this is just casual.
Right.
And then I would suddenly flip it and go, but it's not for me. And then
Yeah.
it was just constantly doing that. And this time I knew that I didn't want to be with him. Like the way he like we tried this before, and I was like, I don't want this to be my relationship the way it is. So don't sleep with him because I just knew. I was like, I'm not going to try to turn this into anything. So I was like, let's just have fun, but we can't. I'm going to save vaginal sex for like someone who I see to be my husband. Like that's my new thing. I'm going to like really save that hole for that.
And you give a deeply mediocre blowjob, right? That's which keeps him like, I think I might
I've gotten better at that. You have to up that game.
I got to go ring shopping.
Well,
to
anal
satisfy myself. Of
is
course, anal. Who
definitely,
can
you
forget
throw that
anal?
in. And but yeah, I think that really shifted things for me because I'm such a people pleaser that I think that he could almost not trust me because he's like, she sleeps with me right away. I haven't given her any kind of promise. Like there was just something, I can't speak for
I
him,
just
but
think
it just
male-female
changed it.
relationships are incredibly difficult.
So fucking
They're
hard.
incredibly
Yeah.
difficult. I want to say something. Serena Williams, I did a commercial with her one time.
Of course you did.
So we were talking about relationships, this before she was married, and I was like, relationships are impossible. They're like climbing Mount Everest. And she goes, no, people can climb Mount Everest. I was like, that's fucking hilarious. So whenever I hear, like, I
step
see
over a lot
you,
of bodies on the way up there.
Yeah, like I see you as
I'm practical, and I know that relationships aren't supposed to last your entire fucking life, and I don't count on it.
you're not like a little heartbroken about it. It's just like that was never a realistic thing.
I think a successful relationship is like 10. When people are like, we were divorced after 10 years, I'm like,
Yeah, I agree.
that is a fucking long
if you were
stretch.
really in love for like
Congratulations.
3 of them, no, or like 8 years.
Yeah. If you get out before it's just like, usually people wait like it's 3 years of like being miserable before they get out. But if you can just, of course I would like to have a partner my whole life, but I just don't see it happening because it doesn't happen. I just think people are in miserable situations and they stay because they just are too scared to leave. I've been there before, like
Yeah, and
just
it's
are
also
like-
just like atrophy. You just get like you're just caught in it's like a body
scared you won't find
emotion.
someone else. It's too much work. You got kids you share. You have a house. It's just like, and you're not. You get older as a woman. You have no libido, so you're like, I'm not gonna fuck another man. Like it's too much work. But I think some people are happy in relationships forever, but I just don't.
Are you easily aggravated? Because I'm pretty easily aggravated. Like I don't have an assistant. I don't have like I don't like
Really?
I don't like having people around.
That's so interesting. And I mean,
I just don't like. I don't.
I really
like
am fascinated by
someone-
you with relationships.
Let's go. I don't like having.
You deserve someone, and someone deserves you. You would be such a good partner, Neal.
You know what happened recently?
This whole thing of like, I don't trust myself to ensure a woman's emotional stability. Like, no one can. I
Right,
think
but I think
a woman
that
is in much better hands with
people-
you than most men.
People pretend they are. I think people pretend that they
Yes.
can guarantee someone's emotional safety. I don't know that I can, just because like I said, I've dropped people and I've been dropped. Like
Mm-hmm.
I had a woman this year who we were in love, and
You were in love?
yeah, dude,
Fuck.
yeah,
Like the kind of love you felt before, or like one that you've never felt before?
like the same one,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the good one,
yeah.
Like Love, the
real-
one you've heard of,
Yeah.
the famous one, the
Tell
one
me
that all
about
the songs are about, the Taylor Swift songs. Not Taylor, I mean whatever, some of them.
Some of them.
She broke up because with me because I was too emotionally available. It was fascinating. It was
Wow.
fucking fascinating.
What-
You dated Natasha Leone, a
Yeah.
guest of a great
For-
fan of the show, friend of the show.
Yeah.
How are you in relationships?
I think better now. That one was like, I would categorize as like a very successful relationship.
Yeah, you both have series.
Yeah. That's what matters. I think much better now. The older I get, I think the better I am at relationships.
What did you have to get out of your system, or what did you get better at?
A fear of not making someone else happy.
You were trying. It sounds like you were pushing
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah. Same kind of thing. Like, yeah, it would be like the same.
How many happinesses did I give her this year? You would ask yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. or like, what do I have to do? What am I supposed to do?
Right. And then you stopped trying. You used to worry
Yeah,
about
or like-
making
and
them
like,
happy.
And like less about worry and more about acceptance. It's okay.
Yourself or them?
Situation. It's okay that someone's a little upset right now. It's okay that today wasn't a perfect day.
Right.
It's like that's not a disaster. It's kind of
Well, that's the nice thing about aging is you just sleep it off.
Yeah.
You just like fucking. You know what? We're gonna call it.
Yeah.
We're gonna go lay down.
Yeah.
We're gonna wake up. Everyone's gonna be different, kind of tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's a magic trick
Yeah.
that you can. It works better when you're gonna use. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
we're not that anymore.
I wonder if that's why sleep was invented.
Go on.
And as far as like evolution goes, if they were like,
I can't deal. I can't even deal
or
with
if,
this.
or if God was just like, why don't we give it? How about everyone gets a break? Like everyone
8
gets
hours? Is that about right? 7, 8, 6 to 8.
Like all they need is 3. No, trust me
You
on
know-
this one. Let's do like a full 8. So it's like
Let's make sure we knock it out. You know what I mean? Why have anything residual?
yeah,
Just go ahead. They lay down.
yeah.
and then they start over again. Yeah, you're kind of, maybe there's something to that.
Let's
but
try it, and if it doesn't work, we'll
do something
go
else.
back to the original
But
design.
remember headaches? We'll bring headaches back.
Yeah.
Or like other places, they can go to other places.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've gotten. Do they like that? Because the stereotype is women like you to listen to their issues, and you're saying you just kind of. It sounds like maybe you just throw your hands up and go like, "Look, you got an issue, and there's nothing."
Yeah,
Freddie can do
meaning
about it.
like
You call yourself Freddie, and they love that.
yeah, that always works. Just call
100%.
I think earlier on in my life, I would think I'm supposed to listen. I got to make sure that I do this, this way, and then therefore be resentful about it.
Yeah, it's a weird thing where you want to get better at it,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna resent you if you make me change too much.
yeah, and so that creates like a tension. So I think it's like moving on from that, of thinking of like, what am I supposed to do?
I had a thought today that you may relate to,
Mm.
and I said it in therapy, and I've never said it before. I said, I was talking about relationships, and I was like, you know what? I think I just care about comedy. It was so fucking liberating, where I was like, whenever a woman is talking to me about a thing I should be listening to, caring, talking about us, it's a split. I go, she's talking and bits are coming in, and they're not against her. It's just, this is what the machine does, and I don't want to feel bad about it anymore.
That's a great breakthrough, being honest with yourself. But I have the same thing, and it's not about comedy.
What is it?
Bands.
How did you fall in love with Mavis, and how did you not have kids?
Oh, well, I've lived with like 5 women. They're all born on the same day.
Really?
Mavis was, when I saw Mavis in the audience.
Same year or same sign?
Same sign. And I said, "What's your birthday?" She said, "September 5th. I go, oh. I remember I had Kathy Geiswhite. Do you remember her?
Sounds
You
familiar.
remember a comic
Kathy
strip called
cartoon?
Kathy?
Yes.
Okay. She was on the Tonight Show. I find myself strangely attracted. I said, "What in the dressing room?" I said, "Look, I'm not flirting. I'm happily married." I wrote a date down on this piece of paper. Just take a look at that date and see if it means anything.
And you
to
asked volunteers. Have we ever met before, sir? Have we? You did the whole
I
magician
hadn't met her
thing?
before, And she turned it over. She said, "Oh, September 5th. That's my birthday." I went, "Okay, that's what I thought." Okay, I just taken a wild guess. And then I told her the story, and I told my wife on September 5th.
So that's your sexual orientation is September 5th?
I just seemed to be attracted to September 5th. My wife never wanted kids, and it was fine with me, so that was all right.
Oh, so you weren't like, it wasn't.
No, I don't.
There was no
I don't need
tension?
a little J. No, I'm fine. She could go on the road with me. It was like you're on a date the whole time. So
Meaning what?
Well, what I mean is she's not home taking care of a kid, and I'm in a club. "Hey, girls, how are you? Nice to see you." I mean, as what happens. She had a dad that was in show business. He was not particularly successful, but he was a working.
Was it Fred Travellina?
No, working character actor. So she knew the life, and if I went to Hawaii for a gig, she went with me. So yeah, and that to this day, I was at Comedy Magic Club last night doing a benefit. She was with me. So
And
been married 43 years.
43 years. Is it still like a date? What's it? Is it still?
I enjoy her company.
That's kind of all you can ask for.
I remember having a discussion with someone. This person said to me, "Oh, he met this girl, comic." He goes, "She's crazy. She's really crazy, but the sex is unbelievable. It's going on and on about the sex." And I said, "Look, when the sex is over, she's still crazy. So you have 23 hours of crazy until the crazy wheel comes around again. You have 23 hours of crazy.
Sit there and eat."
Yeah. So yeah, that's when everything else happens. It just made me laugh. No, I enjoy our company. We have a good time. She understands what a good joke is. I remember we were lying in bed the other night, it's like 2:00 in the morning. She goes, "Honey, I love you." I said, you're having a nightmare. Go back to bed. Right. And she fell out of bed laughing. And to me, as opposed to a woman who might get mad at that, but I just went, you're having a nightmare. She thought that was like the funniest thing. And I went, oh, it's a pretty good line. I mean, she woke me up in the middle of the night.
It's hilarious.
You're just having a nightmare and you go back to bed.
Did you learn anything from your recent accidents?
No.
And you said it wasn't the first.
That's why they're called accidents. They're accidents. If I was a Buddhist and I was setting myself on fire to protest some injustice, that would be one thing. But it was just an accident.
So you didn't crash for any kind of cause? Just
no. What happened was I was on my motorcycle. I came around a corner and I crashed into Jeremy Renner's snowplow. So it was just a bad.
I didn't know that was a joke until you hit me over the head with it. Was there a bottom with that where it was like where you realized or she said something where it was like, dog, this shit is not even or fair or good for a relationship?
I mean, it certainly wasn't even or fair or good for a relationship for many years, you know. I mean, the hard thing is, you know, I mean, we met at a comedy show. So
she knew what she was getting herself. Emily, if you're watching, you knew what you were getting yourself into.
And she says, you know, we just had our 16-year wedding anniversary last weekend, and we were at this nice dinner, her and I. And we were kind of having this open conversation about ourselves. And she was like, it's kind of like you, where she was like, from the beginning, I could tell you were very ambitious and that this work was very important to you. And I didn't think of myself as ambitious back then, because when we met, I was sort of stuck in a rut. I was in Chicago. I'd been there too long. All my friends who were funny, like Pete and Hannibal and everyone, had moved away, and I was still there, you know. So it was bad for a very, very long time. I mean, you know, when we moved to New York, I was dragging her to every open mic we did, and it was bad. And it felt like the entire marriage was catering to me. She would take care of everything else. And I mean, first,
why were you dragging her to open mics?
Well, because she didn't want to be at home alone. And then she sort of became friends with all these people, you know, all these comics. That's who we were friends with. But it was stuff that I wanted to go to.
Yeah.
We moved to New York because I wanted to move to New York. We moved to LA because I got a job in LA.
Was this a given, or was this something you were slightly aware of? Like, this isn't great. This isn't exactly fair. This is a little selfish on my part. Or were you just in it and not even aware of it?
It took me a while to even become aware of it. I mean, when we were in New York, I was doing open mics at night, not making money, and she had a day job supporting us, you know.
As it should be.
As it should be.
What's the unfair part?
And I was truly just staying up late at night, and she had to get up in the morning to go work, and I would be up till 4 a.m., you know. It was like...
And you were loud back then too, right? Late and loud, that was your thing?
I was just alone in our apartment screaming out my bits.
Yep.
You know how you bat with a donut? It was like that. If you do stand-up while you scream, then when you speak, then it's so much more powerful. Yeah. And then, you know, she started talking about it, as obviously she should have. She was like, it just sucks that all of this is for you, and I don't get to really, you know, she said she felt like she was sort of a afterthought to my career, you know, and I sort of took her for granted. I really did.
Did you, when she said it, did you acknowledge it? Did you realize she is right and that's fucked up and I need to fix it?
I think initially I was like, oh, she's right. And now I'm angry at her for pointing it out.
Oh, fuck. Human beings.
Yeah. Awful. And that's the other thing that I think in the last few years I've made a lot of progress in, is being like, having that anger at first and then being like, okay, why am I feeling that? What is the cause for it? You know, oh, it's because I'm embarrassed or I'm ashamed of the way of how I'm doing something that makes me angry at myself, and now I'm directing it outwards.
I'm so not who I claim to be. In that regard, like I'm not a good husband. I'm not an ally. You're just like a selfish.
Yeah. And how dare you point that out to me? And, you know, it still is just, it's unfortunate, but the reality of my work, like, you know, we were just in London for 4 months and Emily comes with me and she can do her work there because she's a writer. Mm-hmm. She's a very successful writer. but she's still coming there because of me. So
Right.
that's something that we decided that we're just going to try and be together as much as we can, because I don't know how people leave their families for months at a time and just don't see them. And so
They
there's
don't really care about their families.
they don't. I love Emily so much, and I love being with her, and I really need her.
And some people do care about their families and have to leave, but I think there are people that are just like, meh.
Oh, they love being away from their families.
Uh-huh.
Some people love being away from their families. I've worked with those people. But with Emily, so it's still a little unbalanced, in that way. But within that context, she is coming to London because of me. But we're going to do stuff that she wants to do. We're going to do a lot of stuff together. So we went on a lot of, dates to restaurants. And when I'm not working, really prioritize my time with her, our time together. I feel like I've gotten a lot better at it. And just understanding that acting and comedy is what I do and not who I am. Still a work in progress, but being thoughtful and intentional about it and thinking about it all the time. I think about it all the time.
Relationship,
I think about how to have worth divorced from what I do. Not there yet, because like you said, the heroin goes away at some point,
not if you got a few different dealers. Then,
well, I mean,
from what I understand, you got a couple different streams.
Yeah, but what if the government cracks down? They burn
they
the
start
fields
shutting
in
down clubs.
South America. Yeah, they start shutting down clubs, whatever it is.
Well, that's okay. Well, my question is, what are the other values, buddy?
Being a good husband, that's one of them. Being a good friend.
So ambition about being a good husband, is that like a possibility?
It's aspirational. Yeah, it's not ambition, I would say, but it is working towards each day being better at it and the doing of it and taking pride in it. That's the thing, it's not ambition and pride are so linked for me. It's, when you do well, you're like, oh, I did well. I was good. And then having to, and applying that thought process to being a good husband too. Like, oh, I did a good job. I set up a good day. That was a great trip we took. That was really
that's
fun.
interesting.
Applying the same math to it, and thinking about it like that. And I've gotten better at it. And, a lot of it's therapy and a lot of it is just reminding myself and talking to myself. And the other thing is, the people talk about this all the time, the way you talk to yourself. If other people talk to me the way I talk to myself, they would not be my friend.
They'd be your wife. Folks, we'll be right back after this. Hey, did you like that? Did you like that? Yeah, did you like it though? You want more? Don't want to work? Would rather watch videos of me grab-assing with people? First of all, go up here to subscribe, and then go up here to watch more clips. This is like when the weatherman says that there's a high pressure system coming in. I'm not really used to the green screen.